Hey guys and girls, anybody who's listening to this right now, welcome to the first episode of the Goated Podcast. My name is Isaiah. Um, not really started, not really sure how to start this. I've been wanting to get into a podcasting for a long time. I'm a really big podcast listener, mostly sports and stuff like that. So I decided to start my own sports podcast. But a little bit about myself. I'm 24 years old. With a passion for sports, anime, video games, pop culture, anything really. And I just want to basically share my opinions with the world. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. And I'm just going to start out. We're going to start with around the NBA. There were 6 games today. Full disclosure, I'm a Boston sports fan. So, Patriots, Red Sox, Celtics. So, the Celtics' performance today was very impressive to say the least. Not expecting that. I've been a little bit skeptical of the Celtics, especially at the start of the bubble with the way that they performed against Miami a couple days ago. But today really put a lot of confidence in me for them moving forward into the playoffs. So I guess we'll just start with that. So the Celtics, basically, they led from beginning to end, wire to wire. This was a beatdown, no matter how you want to describe it, really. Jaylen Brown led the way with 20 points. Jason Tatum did his thing, 7 of 14 from the field. Gordon Hayward pitched in. Everyone pitched in. It was really a team effort. Toronto they couldn't hit anything at all tonight at all. They were just, it wasn't good for them, to say the least. I do expect this to be the second round matchup. I expect it to be a very good series. Boston, I believe, has the advantage in terms of they won't be having to go to Toronto this year. As we know, it's going to be played on a neutral court and everything like that. But, yeah, it should be a good one. I believe the Boston Celtics had the best player in the series with Jason Tatum. With the way he's been playing this year, I also believe he'll make All-NBA. All right, moving on to the next game, we're going to talk about the Wizards and Pelicans. The Pelicans have been struggling mightily since the start of the bubble. Zion's been in and out of games. They've been limiting his minutes, but more recently they've been playing him. And tonight they got the win. And Zion was actually out tonight. Okay. But they managed to win 118 to 107. Jrue Holiday led the way with 28 points and 6 assists. Jrue Holiday is one of the most underrated players in the league, in my opinion. The Pelicans are a game and a half out of the 9th seed, so that'll be interesting to see if they can make it all the way up to the 9th seed to hopefully challenge for the play-in game against Portland, which I believe Portland is going to end up with the 8th seed. I feel like the Grizzlies are going to drop out of the 8th seed, especially with the injury to Jaren Jackson Jr. On to the next game. We got the Orlando Magic and the Philadelphia 76ers. As everyone knows by now, Ben Simmons is out with a dislocated kneecap. There's been no updates as to how long he's actually going to be out for. But, regardless, Philadelphia, very impressive. They pulled out the win today. Joel Embiid struggled pretty bad in the first half, but just straight dominated in the second half, pretty much getting whatever he wants. He finished the game with 23 and 13. Tobias Harris chipped in as well with 23 of his own. And Al Horford, too, with 21 points. A lot of people have been questioning this season whether or not that Al Horford and Joel Embiid could play with one another. And I've always been a believer that Al Horford could play on any team, really. I believe he could fit on any team. I just believe with Philly, it was a really bad fit from the start just because not only is Joel Embiid not the best floor spacing big, Ben Simmons does not shoot at all, as we know. So the spacing is just completely out of whack with that team. But now with Simmons being out and the floor having a lot more space, I think Al Horford's going to thrive with Philly for the rest of the season. I don't expect them to make it very far. I expect them to maybe make it to the second round. But I don't know. We'll see. Uh, yeah, even though Ben Simmons does hurt them in some ways, I believe his defense will be greatly missed, especially when the playoffs start and they're going to have to guard guys like Jason Tatum and Pascal Siakam and Giannis, you know? So, yeah, that should be a tough one. Um, yeah, let me see what on the Magic side. Yeah, Vucevic, he had a great game. 22 21 and 12 himself. Evan Fournier. I don't People don't talk about Evan Fournier enough. This dude just he kills it. Like I'm serious. Like every single time I look at a Orlando Magic box score, this dude's always got 20 or more points and the dude's a really good shooter too. Terrence Man, Terrence Ross 0 of 10 from the field. You don't see that too often. Terrence Ross is a really good player. Yeah, but that'll do it for that game. Yeah, like I said, yeah, both these teams seem to be locked in for the playoffs. Magic the 8th seed currently. I expect them to beat whoever gets the ninth seed, whether it's the Wizards or the Hornets. Yeah, I don't even know why the Wizards and Hornets were invited to the bubble, honestly. I don't think you should be invited to the bubble with that bad of a record. But yeah, moving on to the next game. We got the Sacramento Kings and the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn Nets are very short-handed right now, as we know. They just been signing guys off the streets, but somehow, some way, they just keep winning games. I believe they're 3-1 in the bubble. Only lost to the Celtics coming a couple days ago. And yeah, Karis LeVert led the way for the Brooklyn Nets with 22 points and 7 assists. Yeah, Sacramento. Yeah, it just every single time it seemed like before the season started, a lot of people picked the Kings to kind of be like a dark horse team to maybe make some noise in the playoffs, but it's just been a disappointing season for Sacramento. Starting with Buddy Hield requesting a trade before they paid him. And even though they did pay him, I still feel like, I don't know, a lot of bad blood's still there because I don't think he got paid as much as he thought he was worth, which, I mean, that's for you to decide. I believe Buddy Hield's a good player, but I feel like they paid him about what he was worth. The guy's not much of a defender. Very good shooter, one of the best in the league, obviously. But yeah, the Kings fall. I don't believe they'll be in the playoffs. It'll be very tough for them to make it in. Yeah, they're currently the 13th seed. They're 2.5 back of the ninth seed, but I don't see them catching Portland or Memphis or the Spurs for that matter. And as yeah, the Suns are undefeated in the bubble, so the Suns could jump all the way up there too. So they do have a lot of competition out west, but yeah, we'll see what happens with them. They're an up and coming team. They're missing Marvin Bagley, obviously. But on the bright side for them, Bogdan Bogdanovic has been killing it for them. I believe he had 27 tonight. I believe he had 27 in the last game as well. So, and he's a restricted free agent this coming off season. So they'll probably want to bring him back. I don't think a team like them could afford to lose an asset like him, especially for nothing. Maybe a sign-in trade if they can't afford to pay him, but we'll see what happens in the offseason. On to the next game. We got the Grizzlies and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Surprisingly, the Oklahoma City Thunder got beat down tonight. Thunder have been playing very well since the start of the bubble. They beat the Lakers a couple nights ago, as we know. But yeah, just tonight wasn't their night. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was 3 of 13, 1 of 8 from 3. Yeah, that's not going to get it done. Chris Paul, 17, 5 and 5. Solid night, but just not enough for them. Yeah, I really like the Thunder a lot. I believe I believe their ceiling is the second round of the playoffs. I don't see them making the conference finals or anything like that. I know there are a lot of people who really like the Thunder, but I really don't see that happening. But yeah, Ja Morant, 19 and 9. Pretty good game for him. Dylan Brooks, 22 points. Yeah, the Grizzlies really really needed this game. They've been struggling very much since the start of the bubble. So I would say tonight was a must win, but also the rest of their games that they have left are definitely must wins. With the way that Phoenix is playing right now. Phoenix is just killing it, and would not surprise me if they pass them up in the standings within the next couple of games. And last but not least, the Utah Jazz and the San Antonio Spurs. So yeah, the Utah Jazz sat most of their team today. I'm assuming they're comfortable with where they're seated. I'm pretty sure they got their seating locked up. They can't move down much lower. They're currently slated at the 5th seed in the West. So, yeah, most likely they're going to be going up against the Rockets in the first round of the playoffs. So, for the third straight year, most likely they're going to be facing the Rockets. And most likely going to be taken out by the Rockets. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I don't believe they're going to go very far in the playoffs, especially with the loss of Bojan Bogdanovic. Now they're pretty much stuck in the same predicament that they've been the last couple of years, where Donovan Mitchell is really the only guy on their team that can create his own shot. They did have Mike Conley, and he has been playing solid since the start of the bubble, a lot better than he was playing during the NBA season before it got shut down. So we'll see what happens with that. San Antonio, yeah, they're really fighting. I don't believe they'll be in the playoffs, but it's a good showing from the Spurs. Obviously, Greg Popovich coach team. You know they're never going to give up. They're always going to play hard. They're always going to play fundamental basketball. So, yeah, Derek White, 24, 6 and 4. Very underrated player. Yeah, DeRozan. DeRozan didn't do much, but he chipped in as much as he could, and yeah, it's just a team effort from the Spurs. You know, that's just the Spurs way. That's just what they do. All right. So, shifting gears. What I believe the playoff matchups are going to be for the first round of the NBA playoffs, I believe it's going to be Bucks Magic, Raptors Nets, Celtics Pacers, and then Heat Sixers. That's what I believe the first round matchups are going to be in the East. And in the Western Conference, I believe it's going to be Lakers, Trailblazers, Clippers, Mavericks, Nuggets, Thunder, Rockets, Jazz. And in a future episode, I will go over my playoff predictions. You know, the closer we get to the playoffs, I'll get my playoff predictions. But I also have a lot of ideas for this show moving forward. Probably going to keep this episode kind of short since it's my first one and all. But I hope all of you guys enjoyed. And if you did, I really appreciate it if you subscribed. This first episode is going to be published on Anchor, and they'll be distributing it to all the other podcast platforms. So, yeah, if you guys like what you heard, just give me a subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at BookIsaiah. And with that, have a good night, everybody. Thank you.